Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Kitcat's Camping Gear mod, which is being made by user Kitcat81. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a lovely selection of camping equipment to allow you to build an encampment anywhere you need in the world, and that is pretty fun. Now, we actually have looked at one or two other camping mods in the past, and so I wanted to have a gander at this one to see the difference, and I gotta say, I really enjoy this one because of its simplicity and its ease of use. So let's take a look at how it all works, and to begin, we're gonna need to go into the workshop mode and head over to the crafting category to build ourselves a camping gear workbench. And for just a few pieces of wood, steel, and screws, you'll be able to build this lovely new bench to create all of the bits of camping equipment necessary. Now let's go over here to one that I've already made, and you can see we have a couple of different categories. And we're going to start down in tents because, I mean, we're camping. You need tents to camp. And we have two different tents, the Canvas B and Canvas NB, with just some minor aesthetic differences between the two, just whichever way you care to go. Now the NB does actually require one additional adhesive compared to the B version, which actually kind of confuses me, considering, well, what you'll see in a few moments when I show you the two. And next we have these storage units, and these are quite important. You actually cannot build the tent without one of these pieces of storage, as it serves as the actual storage container for the tent and more or less the basis of your campground. And it comes in a number of just aesthetic varieties of black burlap, brown leather, gray leather, khaki burlap, basket, and another version of basket. Now, next after that is the Paintworks, and in here we can actually create paint jobs for the tents so that we can customize them to our own aesthetic desires. Presuming, of course, that your aesthetic desire is either Adam Shaman, Canvas, Green Khaki, I Love Deathclaws, Orange Brotherhood of Steel, Simple Beige, or Wasteland Camo. And then finally we have the miscellaneous category, which has the remainder of our camping equipment, where first we have the campfire wood right here, which is pretty cool because it is actually a campfire that you can place on the ground to produce light, and actually does consume wood to burn, which I think is pretty cool. Now on its own, it is basically just a light source, but if you have a camping pot, or a cooking pot rather, in your inventory, you can use this cooking pot in conjunction with the fire to create an actual cooking station, which I love that little idea of combining the two. Next, we have a lantern, which is again a purely light source-based object, and then we have a number of sleeping bags, either camo, orange, starry blue, or yellow. Now, there actually is something missing from in here, because I didn't realize till just shortly before hitting record for this episode that once you make it, it disappears from the recipe list, and that is a camping magazine. And so let's head out of the station here and take a look at my Pip-Boy where I have said magazine. In the miscellaneous category here, we have the Camping Gear Manual. And this is the basic instructions for, how to use the camping gear. And if you don't read it, which I haven't read it yet, there are actually some limitations. First is with building your tent, you need the frame plus storage to create tent, like I mentioned. But without having read the manual, you actually have to punch the frame to get it to build. If you have read the manual, it's like anything that you interact with in the world. You hit E and it constructs the darn thing. Now next is with the campfire down here. Now without reading the manual, you can combine the campfire plus wood scraps to create a fire. But you are unable to use a cooking pot to create a cooking station. You can only do that after having read this particular manual. And I'm gonna not read it quite yet, just to show off those things here in a moment. Now let's take a look briefly at the two kinds of tents that we can make, just to show off their aesthetic differences. And the first one here is the Canvas B with shiny metal poles and an actual floor for you to use. And you'll notice we have one of the baskets in the corner, as that's where the storage unit goes inside of your tent. Now next we have the Canvas NB, which has black metal poles instead of shiny, and has no floor. So you're going to be sleeping right on the ground, and right there, as you can see, we have another form of basket. So how do you actually build one of these tents? Well, it's actually pretty darn simple. We just need to go to somewhere flat. It really doesn't like if it's bumpy or angular. You really want someplace as flat as possible, or else it goes real wonky real quick. And all you need to do is drop one of your tents. And there we are, we have a frame now in the world. Ooh, it actually is a little bit lopsided, but oh well, it'll work still. And since I haven't read the camping manual, I gotta get my fist out and punch it. And we get this UI pop up to select which storage we want to put into the tent. Now, if you only have one piece of storage in your inventory, it will just build automatically. It doesn't matter. But if you have different kinds of bags, then it'll ask you to choose. So let's go for the black burlap there, and there we go. The tent is built. We have a lovely little entrance here. We got a nice window, just a nice cozy little tent, and our storage unit in the corner. And if we interact with that storage unit, we have a few options. Now, first is to open the thing, which acts as a storage container for you to, well, store your stuff, and it holds a lovely amount of things, as any storage container does. Now next we also have a move up or move down option, and that's if your tent is clipping into the ground a little bit, you can move it up, or if it's kind of floating, you can move it down, just to make it fit into the world a bit better. We then have the disassembled tent option here, which will actually pack up the tent, putting it all back in your inventory so you can move on your way and, you know, go about your adventuring. And then we have the apply paint, which will take one of those pieces of paint, from your choosing of course, in your inventory and paint the tent. And finally a cancel to leave out of this little UI element. Now let's actually apply paint, because I haven't applied Wasteland Camo to any tent so far. And it phases briefly out of existence, and there we are. We have Wasteland Camo, which you can see actually has a few little tears in the bottom of the tent, which I think is kind of cool. Adds a little bit of character. Very nice. Now, let's actually read that. Oh, wait, no, I'm actually going to hold off on reading the manual, because I do want to show off the cooking pot thing later. So let's take a look at the other kinds of tents we can make. And there they are. Right here we have that, what was it, radioactive shaman or Adam shaman, something like that. But very cool. I do like the big hole in the side of it. Again, just adds character. It seems very befitting of the children of Adam. And in here we have a sleeping bag camo for you to enjoy. And then one of the green bags right there. Now next we have this paint job that I'm suddenly forgetting the name of, and then the yellow sleeping bag and one of the leather burlaps, or well, just leather sacks. We then have this other color here with a nice starry blue sleeping bag and another leather bag in here of just a different variety. We then have the Brotherhood of Steel orange, very good looking, and this one has yet again that black burlap sack. And then over here, we have the I Love Deathclaws tent, which is kind of fun. I like that. And then, of course, does have on the outside, I Love Deathclaws, with a nice big slash through it there. Very, very fun. And inside, we also do have another one of the leather sacks there, the orange sleeping bag, and then the lantern we were able to produce. And whether it's the lanterns, sleeping bags, or even the campfire, we can pick these up just like any other item in the world and move them to where you want them, so that it's, you know, easy to move things around. And especially it's convenient with the campfire there, which you can see kind of glitches. The campfire is the only one that has that glitch. The lantern moves fine, the sleeping bags move fine, but for some reason, yeah, that campfire, once you place it down in the world, it does that. Not all the time, just some of the time. But yes, with our lovely little campfire here, let's actually move it out into a nice clearing. Right now, as you can see, all we can do is take wood from it, or just take and pick up the campfire itself. And let's actually go and read our magazine now, because once we do read the camping gear manual, and hit E on that, excellent, we now have a new option to set fire to the campfire. And as I said earlier when we were in the workbench, this will consume wood. So if we set fire, it will take 1 wood, and oh, I hadn't tried that yet. So with the glitch of moving it, it stayed in its original location. That's new. That's new to me. But yes, it does light it on fire there, and here's something fun. If you are playing the world normally in a normal save, this will go on forever once you light it. Now, if you're in a hardcore mode save, it actually will consume 1 wood per hour, and you have to keep feeding it with wood to keep it going. And I like that little fact. I think that's pretty entertaining. Now, since we do have a cooking pot in our inventory, there it is right there, we can now use this campfire to cook things. So there we go, it turns into a cooking station, and we can transfer stuff over. We have options, or spacebar for options to remove the pot, or remove both the pot and the campfire, or of course we can go in and craft just like any other cooking station in the world. And that is pretty cool. I do like that. So if you are done with cooking but you still want the fire, you can just go there and remove the pot, and bam, we got that fire roaring once again. And now that we have also read the magazine, let's pop our other tent into the world. So let's just drop it, and instead of punching it, you can see now we have the option of R to assemble. And since I already had that basket in my inventory, which is my only storage piece left, there we go. It built it, and we got ourselves another tent. But yes, that is the Kitcat's camping gear mod. I love it. It adds in a fun little tent with a variety of useful sleeping bags, a lantern, a cool campfire, and all of which is very easily popped into the world. Ooh, actually, I forgot one more fun feature. What if you place all your stuff down, go adventuring, and forget where your camp is? Well, you just gotta go into your Pip-Boy, into the quests, and you get a tent tracker. And when you select that, there you go, it shows you where all of your tents are. So if you have multiple encampments around the world, well, there you are. You can find all of them quite easy by opening up that quest. And with that, that's all I've got to talk about now. So if you'd like to check out this mod for yourself, which I would certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this episode. I hope you all have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good one.